Hey guys, it's Danny. Today I'm going to show you how I put together this really pretty cabinet of beautiful plants that you might have seen in the videos that I post on my orchid channel. Well, this is the famous IKEA greenhouse cabinet, which is not an original idea. There are tons of people putting their creative spin on this particular piece of furniture from IKEA, and that's where I got my inspiration as well. There are tons of pictures on Instagram and on Google. Just search for IKEA greenhouse cabinet. Of course, this is not its name, but we'll get to that. So I was inspired to do something similar, not to provide a greenhouse for these plants, because I'm right now in my plant room, which is a sort of hybrid between a greenhouse and just a typical room, and my humidity is pretty okay here. But I needed something to protect my cute little birds that I have from these plants, because these are not pet-friendly plants. And I have Joey here to demonstrate. If a curious little beak would like to nibble a little bit on these plants, they will not be able to get in there. So pretty much that was my purpose for purchasing this piece of furniture and installing it. Most people use it as a sort of interior greenhouse because you can actually regulate to some extent the humidity in here. I personally don't do it, but you will see people having all sorts of creative spins on this project. But today in this video, I'm gonna show you how I put together this piece of furniture, the lighting that I used, and all of my thoughts on this project. I took inspiration from a different video here on YouTube, which I will link you to down below. Because the LED tubes are actually purchased from Amazon USA, I did not find anything suitable in Europe. But the good thing is this light fixture is actually compatible with the European electrical power from the socket. All I needed to do was get myself some plug adapters, and hey presto, we have light. So with that out of the way, let's get to the assembly part, and then I'll come back with some more thoughts. Okay, so the famous IKEA greenhouse shelf is none other than MissOrchidGirl, which in my opinion is quite an expensive shelf, to be honest. But I have to say, in person, it really is beautiful, and it really is great at showcasing plants. So it comes packed in two boxes. One of them contains the doors and the sides, and one contains the bottom and the top, and also the legs. For this build, I only needed one screwdriver with a flat head, while all the screws are already provided in the box. So first of all, we need to assemble the feet, and I am already assembling the adjustment screws as per the instructions. So now I'm gonna go inside and I will first assemble the base. With this, you have to be very careful because each leg has its own position. The back legs appear to have a bigger hole in the middle than the front legs. So hey presto, the base is assembled. Now it is time to screw it in. Always be careful which of the screws you are using so you don't have to go back and disassemble everything. For now, we need the shorter ones. So here they are all screwed in, and my base is pretty much complete. Now comes the bottom. Again, you have to be careful how you arrange it. The bottom tray has two holes which need to face you, and two hinges which need to be placed away from you. Then again, we're gonna use the short screws, and we're gonna attach the base. Each leg is attached with two screws in the front and one in the back. Then we need to assemble the pillars. And it's just a matter of screwing them in, and for this we will need the longer screws. So I went ahead and attached all the 4 pillars. Now we need to finish the base because yes, we're not done. So the last tray, as you can see, has an indentation that needs to face you at this point. In that indentation, we're gonna have one less pillar which will connect two of what will become the back glass panels. You'll see what I mean. So look for the pillar that has bumps on it and insert the part that has two holes for screws in that little notch on the base. The top will again have a hole at the front and two hinges at the back. So place it mirrored with the bottom tray. And then plot twist, the back is actually the front. So rotate the cabinet and install the glass, which is a little tricky. Now I assembled this all on my own and it wasn't a big deal, but if you have a helping hand, it would be great because glass is quite fragile and you don't want to break it. So in order to attach the glass panels, you need to be a little careful to position them correctly. At the bottom, they need to go in a designated notch, which you will see very clearly in person. At the top, they actually need to rest under a protective adhesive band. And if they don't want to align perfectly at the beginning, don't worry, they will actually align at the end. Now again, because I was assembling this alone, I pre-installed the legs upon which the shelves will rest, and I didn't screw them all the way in, just for them to be able to rotate. In this way, I was able to install the second glass panel without the fear of having the first panel falling down on me. And in this way, the little legs can actually hold the two glass panels while I make sure they're all stable in their place. Then I'm gonna position the side panels as well, following the very same method, and place the side stoppers. Now be careful when you're assembling the glass that you always place them behind those little bumps in the bottom tray. I hope they're visible on video. In real life, they're a lot more visible. Glass always needs to be behind them. Now time to assemble the doors. First of all, the doors can lock. So here is me assembling the locking mechanism. At the front, you will have two nubs that will need to go in the cabinet, and upon them, the doors will rest. I sounded a little like Yoda. At the top, you have a pin which will make sure the door stays in place. By the way, you need to jiggle a little the door to make the pin go in all the way, but make sure it went in all the way and it's flush. So I'm gonna do the same with the other door. Then I'm gonna attach the handles and we are pretty much done. By the way, if you notice that the doors are not even at the top or at the bottom, it means your cabinet is not straight. So go at the bottom legs and adjust them a little bit. You'll notice that one or two of them will not be flush with the ground. Just twist them until you even them out and straighten the cabinet, and then the doors will align perfectly. Look at that, problem solved. At this point, we can go ahead and figure out where we want our shelves to be. The cabinet is somewhat adjustable when it comes to the distance in between shelves, and these little stoppers are actually what determine where the glass shelves will be. So you are free to use as many of the shelves as you want and place them pretty much wherever you want in the designated locations. Fun thing, as I was saying, this cabinet can also lock and it has a key. But if you don't make sure to lock the top of the cabinet, remember those little locks I mounted on the doors? The thing will not work. So I was a little confused at first, but I figured it out in the end. Now let's install the lights. I'm using the Barina Grow lights, which supposedly are a full spectrum LED bulb. I opted for the 8 LED tubes, and in the box you will find the tubes. Also, for power plugs, multiple connector cables which allow you to daisy chain all of these tubes, some options of mounting the tubes, even cable ties, and some double adhesive. Color me impressed. Now, in my research, I learned that the double adhesive they come with is not all that great. So I'm using the one that I absolutely like, which is the Command one. I think it's from 3M. It is a very, very good double adhesive tape, and it's easily removable, does not leave any residue or things of the sorts. I love it. I absolutely recommend it. So I placed some double adhesive on the back of the tubes according to instructions, and then I placed them on the upper tray, and not only on the glass as well. Now, I see on the internet that people have some issues attaching light tubes or LED lights to the glass of this shelf. And I know it takes quite a good double adhesive tape to attach to glass. Trust me, these commands one work with this particular shelf. They don't actually work with a different IKEA shelf that I have, but with this one, it works. So if you want to use the glass shelves, go for the command double adhesive. I have it linked in my Amazon store down below. So now I'm just connecting the LED tubes between them, and their cable actually fits in between the glass. And look at that, because I decided to remove one of the glass shelves, I now have a much bigger space in between my shelves and the cables are not enough. So I suggest you account for this, get a different connecting cable or use multiple power plug cables as I did in order to light the entire shelf. And PS, the cable can actually fit through the door, but when you open the door, things get really dangerous. I don't suggest you keep cables like this. I'll show you in a second what I resorted to, but I decided for the moment not to open that door so I don't pinch the cable. So the LED tubes are installed, but look at that. Can you see that they're flickering? And yes, they're plugged in, but they're not turned on. That's strange. So here they are turned on, and as I was saying, they have a kind of pretty pink light. I kind of love it, I don't dislike it, and they've worked beautifully, but I don't know why they kind of work when they're turned off. The flickering is due to my camera and the refresh rate. In real life, you don't actually see it, but on camera, you see that they actually work a little bit when they're off. That is very peculiar. Alright, so here are a few thoughts that I wanted to mention. As you could see in my unboxing segment, the lights actually come with cable adapters and all sorts of accessories, which is absolutely fantastic. But the thing is, these cables are not long enough to reach from this shelf to this shelf. The IKEA cabinet has somewhat adjustable shelving options, and depending how much space you leave in these two shelves, the cables might actually not reach. So what I resorted to do was use two of the provided power cables. So now I have two cables sticking out of this cabinet. In the future, I do plan on drilling a hole either on the bottom of this cabinet or on the top, I'm not yet sure where, and I will make everything a little bit tidier, but depending on the plants you will put here, you might actually have to leave quite a lot of space in between the shelves. So you might actually want to search for some longer connecting cables depending on your situation. To be fully honest, I like this cabinet so much and I want to put it to a much better use that I believe I'm gonna do something else for these plants, and I'm gonna put here my Phalaenopsis summer bloomers. I don't know, that's a whole different story. But anyway, that is sadly a con of this cabinet. You might actually have to give up one of the beautiful glass shelves. That's a pity. It's not going to be the full use of this cabinet. If I were to use all of the three provided glass shelves, I would definitely be able to connect all of the LED tubes, and I would not have two cables sticking out of this shelf, but just one. Anyway, also from what I researched on the internet, the provided double adhesive tapes that come with the Barina LED tubes don't really hold all that much. So as you can see, I use my preferred double adhesive tape, which I certainly recommend. It is very, very good. And as a last note, I think you can tell the light is pink. It is not white, although on the Amazon listing, this particular version of these tubes is supposed to be white. It is not. But it's not a very annoying type of pink. You might know some grow lights are really, really purple, very heavy on the eye. These are actually quite chic, I find. They personally don't bother me, and I have a real sensitivity to that purple grow light. I never use it. But these ones, I have no issue. I find the light to be quite soothing, which is weird. So do keep in mind, the lights are not white. I didn't want to go for the yellow version of these tubes because I feel like it's missing too much of the blue spectrum, which is important for plants. So I went for the pink, just took a leap of faith, and I like what I see. I would definitely go for the pink. I think visually the yellow ones are super cute as well. But yeah, I need to think about the plants, and this pink does not bother me at all. Okay, so actually what you just saw was filmed about a month and a half ago, and I just wanted to show you how the IKEA shelf looks today. Yep, I switched it to some other plants. These are my Phalaenopsis orchids, and because they're not tall plants, I can actually use all of the shelves. So right now I don't actually have the cable sticking out of the door. So what I did was put one cable that is connected to the power plug through this little gap here at the hinge, and look at that. When I close or open the door, it doesn't actually touch. So now I can fully utilize this door without the fear of actually pinching the cable. That was not a very good idea. And I'm also using 2 tubes per shelf. As you can see, they are stuck in there to the glass very, very well. And I just love it. I really, really do. And look at this. The colors pop so much. Whenever you have flowers that are pink or purple or things of the sorts, or red, they pop really nicely under this light. So here's a little update of how I'm utilizing this shelf right now. And I'm thinking of buying another one for another group of plants. Have to say, I really, really like it, and I don't have issues with humidity here. Even though I got myself a little hygrometer and thermometer there, it's always a little bit warm in here, but I typically don't have issues with humidity. I don't need a humidifier here, and I do ventilate this IKEA stand about once a day in the nighttime, although sometimes I forget about it and everything's okay. So yeah, that's how it looks like today. And with that said, I think it is time to end. I'm surprised Joey stuck with us. Joey is actually the shyest bird in my family. I have 3 birds, 2 of them are here in the greenhouse. They're white doves. Joey is a very, very, very shy bird, but she has such a sweet heart. She's so caring towards Maya, and I'm quite surprised at how good she was. But see, if I want to pet her, ooh, she gets all iffy. So okay, no scratching of sorts. Alrighty then, so thank you so much for watching. Hope this serves as inspiration, but do please search for the IKEA greenhouse cabinet on the internet. You will find a lot of interesting ideas from other people. You might find other types of lighting situations. Some people actually put a fan inside. But yeah, depending on your situation and what you want from this cabinet, you'll find tons of ideas and tons of creative ways of using this piece of furniture, which I really, really like. And I think this particular one will be transformed into something else, or I might just buy another one for my summer blooming special Phalaenopsis. But with that said, thank you again for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video and you got a lot of inspiration. And with that said, I'll see you next time. Bye. Say bye, Joey bird. Yeah, she just wants to go home at this point.